Today is May 11th. This management office right here, 575 Howard Avenue, incompetent. How many years have I been coming back and forth asking them to calculate my rent correctly? I had to go to 250 Broadway and 90 Church Street to have my rent calculated correctly. This is Miss Collins. I'm not playing. They're incompetent. They're foolish. Okay? So now they're going to tell me, oh, your rent has to be increased. Okay. But you're going to tell me that people at 250 Broadway and 90 Church Street know how to do math, and you people that work down here do not? Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. This is not going to work for me. I'm not scared at all. I'm not scared. I didn't make any threats or anything. None whatsoever. And my son was on the phone when I walked out, by the way. My son. He was FaceTime. I was FaceTiming my kid. Okay? We're going to see. I'm disgusted. I'm angry. All of the above. Let me just get to my car. Really? I don't care. All right. This is ridiculous. These people, they sit there and then they drain the well with all of these empty apartments. This is my vehicle. I walked right by it. Oh, I'm so angry. Empty apartments galore. So they have to meet their quota. They gotta meet their quota. So they milk people. All right. And they moving in people? Okay. Yeah, so this is Miss Collins again. Let me just come back with this. My son was on FaceTime during the whole thing. The property manager, the assistant property manager, and the community administrator, they was all speaking to my son. And everything that my son said happened on that particular day that we all sat inside there and was trying to calculate that rent, they was in agreement with my son. So my thing is this: for every time that I walked over to that management office over there, right, I took you guys with me. I said, I'm going to the management office and I'm going to have my rent recalculated. So remember the lady that came to my apartment? Not the one with the black pants with the soft voice. The one who I said, so are you such and such and such? And she said, no, that gentleman is with me. He's with me. Okay. That person works out of the chief officer operating director's office of Nycha. And that person sent me by way of email a documentation stating, we did the math, we calculated your income based upon your current income status, right? And this is what your rent is going to be. Now, I contact 2 people out of the 250 Broadway and 90 Church Street location. I contact a gentleman, and I spoke to that young lady. Now, I contact the gentleman before I spoke to the young lady. Long before I spoke to her. Long before she came into this office over here, I spoke to her. I spoke to the gentleman. And I explained to him, this is what's going on, and this is so forth and so on. So he said, okay, I'm going to look into it. The young lady who works out of the chief operating office, she also said, okay, I'm going to look into it. So I sent them both documents. Okay. So today is May 11th, 2023. And the gentleman who I spoke to prior to me speaking to the young lady who works out of the chief operating director's office, he sends an email stating that, oh, Ms. Collins' rent has been calculated incorrectly. It needs to be increased. So if you, sir, if you can send an email stating that Ms. Collins' rent is calculated incorrectly and needs to be increased, why did I not get that same email from the chief operating director person who sent me an email with an attached PDF telling me this is what your new rent is going to be. She got the same documents he got. She received the same documents that he received. No different. So I'm thinking, okay, really? You serious? So this assistant property manager is saying people who move out of this development, out of here, cannot move back in. And we are not taking new move-ins. That's a lie. And I can prove that. Okay, so, because when I said to her, instead of me going back and forth with this unit here, with this headache, why not just transfer me over to one of the vacant ones? We're not doing any transfers. But you want to raise my rent and give me a hard time? You want to raise my rent and give me a hard freaking time? And it's not only the rent. That's not my issue. My issue is who comes to management and asks them, can you calculate my rent correctly? Can you calculate my rent correctly? Who does that? Nobody do that. No one does that. And nobody sits on their damn behind and goes through headache after headache after headache, year after fucking year, with the same nonsense. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. So here I am trying to be forthcoming. I'm trying to be compliant. And I'm getting repeatedly slapped in the face. And you think I'm not going to slap your ass back? My way. Okay, so today's May 11th, 2023. And paperwork and videos don't lie. I'm just going to say that. Paperwork and videos don't lie. And for the property manager, the actual property manager, you need to thank your assistant property manager for sending me these snapshots of your internal applications that you use to calculate rent. Thank her, because now I know more than I need to know. And I'm going to prove that the negligent falls on the heads of your staff. The negligent. Not that I haven't proved that already. Trust me when I tell you, I am going to expose your corruption at its best. I am going to expose your corruption at its best. You watch.